Yanko. Because 27 minutes past 7, I have a guest in the studio this morning, Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku. Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku, and currently one only president, the founding president for the UP Tradition Institute. What's not say now? And formerly he was the PR manager for a year, National Lotteries Authority. Or MPP, I'm MPP. I don't know. Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku atranse. Enche onu ni bre nti no ebo no wotwe apɛ meni ni bewi na ensam no doso. Doctor, emo akwa ba.
Ohina meje so na etse.
Bibi aboko de.
Oh, Yesu Kristo adaro ma me ho ye pa.
Na ni o makosen.
Oh, by the grace of God. Everything is fine.
Yeah, the nyankopon.
Yeah,
the nyankopon. Enkran so boko de.
Pa.
Enjo 20 see fa mo nkran you. But at this 21st century, this time and age, now you go to the and that for you, you know, Doctor, I knew. Because the flooding situation in our country there, I knew.
And then
we still build on waterways at this time and age. It's bad.
It's very bad. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, well, institutions know, but are they really enforcing the law? They are not, because omo be enforce mrano no or hwe kwan ya obe exploit the law na nya ne deliberate. Okay. Enya ne sika. Apart from salary or from the particular institution or adwuma from. So yeah inbuilt corrupt activities it created difficulty when it comes to enforcement of the law. And a idea a behavioral change that all of us need to have, apart from lack of political will to enforce the law.
Anyway,
flooding and all the other issues, collectively, what can we do to address it from the citizen perspective and from the political perspective? Nina has to work together to make sure say ubia bedimra so pepe. They were implementing it. The SOD runners also I think they bet me achieve a good stride for our country. As it stands now, the problem across from the political end, from the citizens' end. So we all of us have to blame ourselves for some of these things.
Anyway, now we've been crying by now. Who's at the Ramsey aside, Greater Accra Regional Minister. My honorable lady Okulu Esther say bubu a dime be Ramsey aside. And then so share okay Obeko team and face. I just watched the video and I'm like, oh, but on the other side, I'm like, how do you go and build at the Ramsey side? Maybe internationally, we are seeing from I said the such lands, and I see people near Bubu Dam so Munya with Romania.
But that particular site under Rollins, people were building there.
Sure.
Not government or for the same thing. Males Mahama the same thing. Ekufu at the time the same thing. And the time I know Musi down, now authorities are winning one man. Sa institution normal taking action right now. I feel the Atiana, or they have been there for a very long time. The other now many panel ACC dino was watching them. Now ASA buying mom necessary. And mom could take such actions. The actions no chroma take Obibeka say ejadia in a honeymoon period. I feel no maba or more ye bibia my yehu baby. I saw a phobia juma for front. Or pressa or ye press. Giddy 1 year.
We do it just up. Okay, 31 minutes past a year 7. Yening Komona, Yanshan Samira and some Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku, founding president for the UP Tradition Institute. Now it's a civil society organization, an institution. They put governments on checks, or more monitor what's going on. They've been going around the country or more monitor the citizenry, the governance. John Dramani Mama, His Excellency Baye, after his first 120 days, they've addressed issues. So far, so good. Send Ghana. UP Tradition Institute, more monitor. What has it been for you, more from your own perspective? Most of them come 120 days of John Dramama. Yeah, the extra 120. We are still going. Yeah. How do you see it?
First of all, man, share a tea for the form or share across the social media platforms. 120 days of Mahama's government. I did make Kahwa it go beyond the 120 days. I think there are some decisions beyond Mahama has gotten it right. Whether say only one party and now only one party, he has gotten them right. There are some decisions he has gotten them wrong. And as a pro MPP person, I'll be looking at from the wrong side. It's a responsibility of the NDC communication machinery to project the positive sides of John Mahama. That's not my work. So, we share the 120 days now. I think idea why ana idea koswa Ghanaians enya some misfeelings. Ebi feel say idea na econo very good, but what about the sustainability of it? Others are also saying say a cosmetic, a artificial, and a be omo creative. I'm talking about the city appreciation. Yeah, exactly. We share the city appreciation now cost now. Initially, which may use this opportunity now. A caution MPP communicators. Issues we are about. You see, we need to have political communication coherence. And not just assembly bar. We need to take our time, research into it, and see how best Yes, we bet him contribute to the discourse.
Okay.
Because Tama Sid initial says appreciate the ever form. No. Some of our communicators, the first thing they created, they say, oh, a US China terrorist war.
Sure.
And then money a day, it happened. Actually, then I be most of back and say, no, it's about our go for oil policy. And then money a day, it cost. When that kind of inconsistency happens, MY as a political party. But I think city appreciation, you know, ni patriotic party government, you watch a phone. So you contribute to the appreciation of the currency. Mahama Nankasa admit accept say our gross international reserves of $10.6 billion. Any dijano.
Okay.
Any dijano. Or they compare to 2016. What was the international reserves at Mahama Odijaye? Or my $4.9 billion.
Okay.
To share international reserves are Akufo-Addo Aban Edija Mahama $10.6 billion. Now the total international reserve Mahama Edema Akufo-Addo in 2016 now $4.9 billion. In terms of international reserves achievement, and Ajoa, one idea.
Well, as compared to the two nations,
yes,
that the MBB has done.
Thank you very much.
Well than the NDC.
Thank you. And how far tons of gold from 1961? Kwame Nkrumah share go for forest reserve policy, and around 1962, now the prices of gold on international market a high almost suspended program no.
Okay.
And until say 2021 and new patriotic party government introduced domestic gold purchase program, follow up by go for oil policy in 2022. Through that initiatives, by the end of our tenure, yetimi add about 22.4 tons to the 8.9 tons now year 2 year in 2017. Our Bank of Ghana and Kasana admitted that by the end of April 2025, our tons of gold are 31.37 tons. And Ubusa was say NDC, how much of the tons are normal added? Joy FM cross check here. They have not added even up to 1 ton. And to Ubusa was say from 8.9 tons in 2016, by the end of April 2025, I am 31.37 tons. A government been making it possible. It is a new patriotic party government. Good board a buyer. Good board a bad abe. A April any passing law. Any assent here. And a man be a good board. Yeah, appointed Sami Jenfi as the acting CEO of Good Board. Yeah, appointed Sami Jenfi initially as the acting CEO of PMMC.
Exactly.
Precious Mineral Marketing Company
Exactly.
Limited. Emma need the operator for the last 3 months. And signed a Good Board Eco Parliament passed, assented, and started implementation.
Exactly.
To show Good Board contribution to our tons of gold and our international reserves is highly negligible compared to the new patriotic party domestic gold purchase program and gold for policy.
Yeah,
you to mean dispute that fact. To honor and actual gold board nekrana a imitation of gold for oil policy and domestic gold purchase program.
And this is an updated one because
it's not the same. And I introduce monopolization.
Exactly.
So the introduction of the monopolization
more enhanced.
No, it's not enhanced.
Enhanced. And this time round, more monopolizing. We'll be able to mean to be keke.
And I make sure that that's the only introduction.
And I don't think that that's going to help.
Anymore here beboa.
In the long run, so beboa.
No, anymore here beboa. So I feel that the monopolization.
Exactly.
Those cartels and those stakeholders in the gold trading industry. Me assure say by now most of our money.
But don't you think monopolization is too much? As an India for being
it's like running of radio stations. First, not private were not allowed to operate a radio station.
Exactly.
At that time, the monopolization of the radio industry was very beneficial to the government.
Exactly.
Until say you be a more private sector then and the monopolization of the gold trading industry by the PMMC. Among have we asked ourselves, is it in alignment with economic objectives of the country is enshrined in Article 36 of the 1992 Constitution? But the government created the enabling environment for the private sector to play its role in the economy at all sectors of the economy.
But they have not been taken out entirely. Now, when people can apply for licenses, Ghanaians.
And not crano, and I'm sure is it a fully in alignment with economic objectives of the country, which is Article 36 of the 1992 Constitution. It's not in alignment with that. You beat my radio on Mama. Article 36.
Okay.
Economic objectives of the country.
Okay. The state share Article 36 of the Ghana's Constitution, economic objectives.
We are not called AB or no. As the emphasis.
AB, no?
Yeah, AB.
Okay, so Article 36, Article 36, 2AB.
Yeah.
The guarantee of a fair and realistic remuneration for production and production. B rather.
Yeah.
Affording ample opportunity for individual initiatives and creativity in economic activities and fostering an enabling environment for a pronounced role of the private sector in the economy.
Yes. So
that's why they've been given opportunities.
Which opportunity?
No, they can apply. I know people who are applying for good licenses.
All the other sectors of the industry,
Yeah.
The private person, what they call pronounced role. So the private individual, now I'm going to say the farming industry or the manufacturing industry, ultimately import it, export it. Okay. But now, with the gold board, does the private sector has the power to import and export as far as the gold trading art is concerned, the gold board art is concerned?
No, you can't. But also, but you have to go. You can buy it.
And defeat the purpose of economic objectives of the country.
But
and I'll share gold board now. And yet, innovation is not innovative.
Sure.
Guyana, we go to check. Guyana for a share monopolization of gold trading industry by setting up Guyana Gold Board in 1981. the law was passed. In May 1982, implementation started. So that time, I'm not sure if Papa could home. So, but you also need to find out Guyana, a year no, over the last 40 years, how has it benefited the country? And what are their challenges that they are facing? Yeah, can Guyana, is it one of the vibrant economy in the world? Yeah, mention powerful economic house in a community of nations. You mention even 100 countries. Does Guyana even feature in the numbers? Ti Osha therefore frasia. O might say, it's been effective, but given a time, money, space, and time. And let's see, by the end of 4 years, you come back here and discuss the challenges and the issues. Go board, AFAC, your T Cocoa board. Now, farmers, any AJ, my scholarship will be any AJ. And then, what is the story of Cocoa board? Tiama Gold Board time. So 4 years.
I don't think so with time the challenges that will come with it. Because
the government,
some of the challenges
in the budget,
expected.
In the budget, the government allocated $279 million to Gold Board.
Sure.
As you speak now, Gold Board must spend the same. Tuusika were allocating the budget for Gold Board. If they end up spending more than that, now, open the and $279 million, or they convert it to exchange rate. Maybe at that time, the exchange rate was wrong. But now, about from the crowd, it means the Gold Board is going to be affected.
Sure.
So even the depreciation of our currency will even affect the budget allocation to Gold Board. And actually, all their budgetary allocations now is only Gold Board and no more quantified in dollars.
Sure.
The rest now were in cities. At that time, now budget was read. The budget of Gold Board was even more than the budget for agriculture. What kind of government is that? A normal now is good, but the essay Ghana for who say 120 days of Mahama no. Or better international reserve of $10.6 billion. I did jano. Or no 2016 or the $4.9 billion in the Maya. And I will share CD now I appreciate now. Some of the factors na cause. One of them the fiscal and monetary policy decisions of Mahama's government.
Okay.
And a drive, because Osha your economy now is hanging on two legs. The fiscal policy and Minister of Finance and they in charge. And the monetary policy, the Bank of Ghana they in charge. So the fiscal policy end, the government has decided not to spend in the economy.
Okay.
Because share the budget or this is the budget speech of 2025. Share the budget speech of 2025. Section 50. They are talking about 67.5 billion debt.
Okay.
Arrears and payables. Almost the road sector alone is about 21 billion Ghana cedis. They haven't paid. Apart from that, Osha Independent Power Producer IPPs
okay.
is about $1.73 billion. They haven't paid.
Sure.
68 billion owed to the Electricity Company of Ghana. 32 billion to the Ghana Cocoa Board. 5.75 billion to the road fund. Okay? And Bank of Ghana, so Osha Section 57 of the budget speech, also Bank of Ghana itself, pay 53 billion to address their negative equity position. Apart from that, almost say contracts ministry, department, and agency mind care for the state to service under section 59 of their budget speech, 194 billion cedis. Call home. Odi no tone chanya. Odi no tone chanya. They are saying say between 20 2027 and 2028, you hear 150.3 billion Ghana cedis to pay the domestic, to service the domestic obligation. Okay. Yan call 2027, you see it 57.6 billion. 2028, you see it 52.5 billion. Yan call. Okay. What do you know to China? Your external debt, your domestic debt service obligation, and 153.3 billion. And your external debt service obligations totaling $8.7 billion. Yanko. Okay? I can go on.
Because most of these
so the
things have not been
government,
serviced. It looks as if we are doing well.
Expenditure and a decided inflation.
Exactly.
Okay? And they decided how because all these debts are making one say the moment are buying through fiscal policy decision or be committing money to it. What could the amount for? They will start spending.
Sure.
Okay? The oko kra normal, $100 eko kra normal, ebe then ebe chase dollars to go and get the dollars and start the importation there. So if the government decide not to spend in the economy, when it comes to import-export economies, it will be affected. And our city is largely affected by our import-export economies.
Sure.
The abandon fiscal policy decision say we audit. We are ready to spend in the economy. Okay, because kind section 58 of the budget speech, I'll say, Mr. Speaker, as part of measures to address these amounting accumulated arrests and payables, we have commissioned an audit of these arrests and payables and guarantee value for money before payment. So audit now, Minister of Finance, all these debts now, my boss, committing money to it. And if the government is not spending money in the economy, now we catch them and say, see the air conforma, now we all them saying, let's go back now. And I offer the monetary policy aspect now. So in policy rate, and they determine the interest rate. Say no see the conform. Prices of goods and commodities conform. That means they are artificial. See the conform. O the bank loan interest no matter so
interest rate. Okay. At the bank.
At the time the dollar was $1 to 16 cedis or 15 cedis, the policy rate of Bank of Ghana was 28%. And the dollar neighbor from Bank of Ghana says still now the policy rate aging at 28%.
At 28, yeah.
Does it make sense? Mimi who say strategically they are looking at how a dollar neighbor perform before they will commit themselves to what spending of paying certain debts. Because remember I said what the independent power producers car accordance with their section 56 of the budget speech, $1.73 billion. So we try to carry at exchange rate of 15 cedis or 16 cedis is kakesiapa. As compared to Utriasa carry that same carry at exchange rate of let's say 8, it will not be the same as exchange rate of 16.
Sure.
So maybe artificially, strategically, they are deciding say no, can they go on no? They are in dollar terms no. Yem pe kwan bi so, near dollar nemra a considerable rate. And ya ba considerable rate pe automatically no. Ye tuaka na yemre.
Sure. Compared
to say a be allow natural appreciation of the currency and stability of the currency. And I also was $1.73 billion now. Yes, you are independent power producers now. Among cost no more in care at that time now. In terms of city terms, now no more city number form before you pay them. They are going to lose money. Because at that time, no, so was a 160 billion, and no more they make sure that your lighting is on at that particular exchange rate. Then there's also by car. There's also car 160 billion cedis equivalent to dollar. And they would treat that same kind because it was quoted in dollars. They would treat it as exchange rate of 8 cedis or 5 cedis. Sure. Omoka.
Waboka 16 down now.
So when that happens, how are you going to ensure stability of our electricity?
Waboka.
You see, they need to think through properly. And just they are thinking, say, oh, let's use a psychological welfare and show to Ghanaians, say, dollar now a car say MPP4 omoye incompetent no man managing no artificially. Let's do it and create the impression say you're better managers than them, but that is false. In reality, it's false.
In reality, it's not sustainable.
And I make sure say we are independent power producers. At the time, government $1.73 billion more incurred that cost. No, it wasn't incurred at the time Mahama president. Incurred at the time Akufo-Addo president. At what exchange rate? At what exchange rate? Let's say 16 cedis. And 1.73 billion equivalent of 16 cedis is how much? Okay? You produce a bit of that simple calculation for us. Okay? Let's say 1.73 times 16. 1.73 times 16. You are looking at 27.68 billion.
1.73
times 16.
Okay.
27.88 billion.
27.68.
Exactly. So that in city term, a KSC Tuyama independent power producers. No. Now, normal dollar neighbor ever from let's even say 10 cities.
Is that 10 now? Yeah.
So 1.73 times 10 is what? 17.3.
Sure.
So 27
in excess of about 10 billion.
0.68 minus 17.3. 10.38 billion. That's a debtor gap. Serious vacuum you are creating for the independent power producers. See, idea no, you have to look at the picture no in a very broad spectrum
But
and
is it
broad
not to
strokes.
our advantage?
Is to advantage, but to the producers end, it's advantageous to the consumers end.
Sure.
But what about the producers end? Have you thought about it? Unless maybe they agree to peg the dollar at a certain rate for the government to pay.
Sure.
As the Obabokabu bro. The CD appreciation, like I said, the fiscal and monetary decision of Mahama's government, of not spending into the economy, not paying certain debts and all that, a very serious factor. Your international reserves, a DJI of $10.6 billion, is a very significant factor.
Sure.
Your IMF deal you enter into of $3 billion for 3 years. Ebe would next year, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
That's time you $1.19 billion. The rest is for Mahama's government.
Sure.
And check $370 million or hit the account. Says no ebe boa ama day CD na day. I appreciate it because I'm going to get more dollars. And IMF deals this particular IMF deal and Mahama na or beto
Of course.
$370 million na oba benya na ma ben e ma na benya.
Ghana buy.
No, aban ben.
Aban ben as in opposite make.
Your Ghana buy. Be MPP aban.
Well, MPP aban.
Thank you very much.
I better Ghana buy at the end of the day. Anyway, 56 minutes past 7. Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku and Miguzu Menini Edin Komono, the founding president for the UP Tradition Institute. Miguzu Edin Komono. Actually, maybe now Kabbalah beto. So, but Doctor, let's go on. I don't know if you have.
And then the last point.
Yeah, the last point. Okay.
Domestic debt exchange program now. Yeah. And also abwa banepa giving you fiscal space to rest, to breathe. No our time at that time, but at the blessing I then abre Mahama abai. What to them make sure they can never deny that fact because okay or more budget speech here. Section 43, page 10. I say, Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the gains made, which gains made under the IMF supported program that was achieved, okay, IMF program near Quena. IMF former conditions. One of them is a domestic debt exchange program, which was very painful to the Ghanaian community. Some of them decided to punish us for taking that decision. It's one of the factors. But that same factor near causing in 2024, no, that same factor has become a blessing to Mahama's government. Our Section 101, page 23 of their budget, Ghana debt restructuring update. Also, Mr. Speaker, if you may recall that the government, that's Akufo-Addo's government, commenced the debt restructuring program in 2022 to restore debts to sustainability and economic stability. And you know, to forcing Mahama's government and Ekasa said domestic debt exchange program no Akufo-Addo no. The essence of it, and for so I was on say, to restore debts to sustainability and economic stability. Tiene Mahama ban enjoy debts to sustainability and economic stability. And they created that for Mahama. It's Akufo-Addo's government. It's MPP's government. And Oko Section 102, I'll say, Mr. Speaker, as of now, the restructuring process is approximately 93% completed. You completed 93% at the time I leave your office. The remaining 7% relates to debt of 2.7 billion owed to commercial creditors. We, over Section 1, we are committed, that's the NDC government. We are committed to completing the remaining debt restructuring as soon as possible. The debt restructuring and NDC for you who did gaining political capital out of it. Omo budget, they have come back to Ghanaians in 2025, 11 March to tell Ghanaians say, Adena Akufo-Addo ye na ne kan ho asem say ya de bone to Ghana for 3 more to abetia ye no. And that Omo budget speech 101 page 23 or C was to what? Restore debt sustainability and economic stability. Over Section 103 or C MPP 4 year dear pass it me completely 93% of that what? Restructuring. 7% na akan omo beye, and they are going to do it. All these are factors check the factors that are contributing to the appreciation of the city, especially you cannot say MPP government did not contribute to it. With our international reserves, with our domestic gold purchase program, gold for oil policy, with our domestic debt exchange program or Ghana debt restructuring program, these are serious interventions Abua Mahama's government as far as the city appreciation is concerned.
So they can take all the credit.
And apart from that, Yenina Yajitumu say Mahama Bar office no new budget.
Sure.
So say at force in ready budget. You set the appropriation bill in place. You pass it, you almost start implementing their own budget. The budget that was governing Mahama's government was a Akufo-Addo mini budget presented on 2nd January, approved on 3rd January. It was at the tune of 68.13 billion Ghana cedis. And no na Mahama for the first 3 months of the blue Ghana on bra. So how can you say that 3 months achievement be a now our budget? Now our budget. Which budget? Our budget. MPP's budget.
You didn't control it.
No,
you that's how supposed
our
to be.
budget.
Say about the bar. The first 3 months there. And
Our budget.
One of my budget. But I'm saying no implementing.
Apart from
that.
Apart from that,
they could be bad managers too.
Mahama say
They did well.
Mahama say criminally you manage the economy.
Sure.
Okay. Suffice to say Obeye president no one can discredited that statement. Economy was criminally managed. The jail reserve of $10.6 billion. O economy o Mahama na ye president. A free abamu 2016. O se na ye criminally managed. O jaye dumso. O sama ye international reserve of $4.9 billion. Now was a businessman. Me ma $10.6 billion. Now me ma $4.9 billion. Yen abefa.
Anyway,
they are not changing ya.
Younger.
Growth rate. Oman Kasa budget speech. Section 104. At forcing. Or see a growth rate in 2024 was 5.7%. economy etimi grow by 5.7%. You are calling it criminally managed? Are you serious? Meanwhile, let's look at microeconomic target Mahama Bina Kasa setting itself for 2025. Near found to 2 year growth, GDP growth I achieve for 2024. Section 130, microeconomic targets of Mahama's government for 2025.
Okay.
Or see, Mr. Speaker, in pursuit of the word variety microeconomic objectives, the following microeconomic targets have been set for the 2025 fiscal year. First one, overall real GDP growth of at least 4.0%. Mahama say on 2025 we bet me achieve 4.0% or 4% GDP growth. 4.0% and if 5.7%, our no one can to force admitted under section 104 of their budget speech. Then papa. Then papa. These are your own budget speech. NDC budget speech. It is not MPP budget speech. Budget speech. Section 104. What's the MPP? You must 5.7% growth rate. 2024. Following by 2025. Sure. That means that if you are going by even their GDP growth target of 4.0%, which is less than our 5.7%, it means that MPP krano ya sakrana ya more homodin for 2024 in terms of GDP growth as compared to Mahama microeconomic target for GDP growth for 2025. We are going to do better than him. And it's even not even guaranteed. Self 4.0% by any achieve. He has been recognized, has been documented, has been accepted. Atuforce has referenced it. You know, Oshe Omar Kasa budget speech now. Nana, who are the battle managers of the economy?
Ghanaians will determine that.
Never for that. Wait. Atuforce in section 105. Or see, Mr. Speaker. Non-oil GDP grew by 6% in 2024. Okay. Let's go to Mahama 2025 microeconomic target. Section 130. Their target for non-oil growth is 4.8%. It's not less than our 6% you're achieving in 2024.
Sure.
So who are the better managers of the economy? And this one is not even guaranteed they can achieve it. What they not turn China. Let's even go here. Almost here Kufuado Sebi wa mono modern wa nyahwe yati ase. Ba wan kasa document a trace Kufuado wasa wa nyahwe. But the GDP growth for 2024 5.7% is far better than your own GDP target for 2025, which is 4.0. Non-oil GDP of 6% Kufuado will achieve in 2024 is far better than your own target of non-oil GDP of 4.8%. So clearly, Accra Krojina don't say Kufuado is better than Mahama when it comes to management of the economy. Oba Session 135 2025 expenditure measures. Oba House say they are going to amend the Mineral Income and Investment Final Crown NDB. They are going to amend the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act to ensure the 80% mineral royalties originally maintained by MEF is transferred to the Consolidated Fund for Infrastructure Development and strengthen social protection through the implementation of new social intervention programs like the non-academic free policy for all first-year students. And to be now first-year students now went to academic fee biano is kind courtesy MPP's government. NDC for budget or maneka. Almost a MEF no. Akufuado create no. They are going to amend the act and ensure says it can eba no. The 80% ebe consolidated fund. For which purposes? For infrastructure development. The infrastructure development be a Jomama be a Kufuado policy boom. What they are there? infrastructure project bi o baby Akufo-Addo ne policy ne MEF ne ho bon MPP ho wo because a policy and now transfer 80% of that money to ensure that akra bia or free SHS. No, is it what? Free tertiary?
Academic user fee. Or tertiary.
Level 100.
Sure.
Ontia academic fee biano. MPP at Daroma. MPP at Banya Daroma.
Okay.
It's 80% of MEF policy.
Okay.
And Mahama they were there achieve that. May end no. Oba or more getting to the end of their budget. You can see clearly say Sebi MPP though a normal call ye the way an Ghana for expect.
Now which one? Yeah, that was actually.
But as a Ghana for so who say Sebi Ofa Mahama na kasa budget the cardinal policies of his government is being underpinned by MPP policies.
Which one?
Over section 202, free SHS is mentioned there. One at the buy, any at the buy. Over section 205, school feeding program is mentioned there. Budget has been allocated to it. One at the buy, any at the buy, MPP government. Over 206, capitation grant has been mentioned. Budget has been allocated to it. One at the buy, MPP government. More time, payment of allowances to teacher nursing trainees. They punish them. Co-position, answer. Yeah, restore here. To follow that good policy initiative a year.
Okay.
Section 207. Continue the payment of allowances to teacher and nurses.
Exactly.
Which we were doing it. They are not on China. Oko 209, which I am ending, or say, in 2025, government will continue to implement reforms and increase budgetary allocation to enhance the implementation of the 4 targeted social protection programs, namely NHIS, MPP, LEAD program, MPP, school feeding program, MPP, capitation grant MPP
governance.
So even per Mahama own budget, section 209, there are 4 targeted social protection programs. All of them are MPP initiatives. And the omo budget no ushima which party any reigning supreme in their own budget.
Is
a new patriotic party.
I was a owner.
So
anyway,
Ghana for who say, Yenya Akwanya no,
okay,
and Oma Bebre or Noma and Koye the way they were expecting.
Okay.
Notwithstanding, and also in Chese, yeah, that bad. We are not that bad.
Okay.
Because by now, no buy now, or say, yeah, bad, you know. The international reserves a Dijano. 10.6, far better than the DJI in 2016, 4.9.
Okay.
The growth rate they achieved in 2024, 5.7%. Non-oil GDP, 6%. A far better, highly significant than one cancer microeconomic target that was set for itself in 2025. GDP of 4%, non-oils 4.8%. They are lesser than ours.
Okay.
The NDC at no point can compare themselves to us. They talk about say inflation near the but yeah, your time. The best tradition in this country are what to me ensure a better data when it comes to inflation records is a no patriotic party. It's a UP tradition. Ofa Buzia's government 1969 in 7.32%, NDC nya bida. 1970 3.03%, NDC nya bida. Okay, Akufo-Addo kra na omu demonize no. Males inflation nya 8.3%. It's far less the inflation rate Akufo-Addo a choke here in 2018 7.81%, 2019 7.14%. Akufo-Addo didn't get everything right. MPP didn't get everything right. But certainly, we are still better than the NDC.
Okay.
IMF, you 17 times. MPP, you 2 pair. NDC, you 10 times. Okay? Tama Akufo-Addo exited the last State of the Nation address. Kofi Amabua said Akufo-Addo is the most incompetent president ever. Adenya Akufo-Addo started with the IMF. Ended with IMF. But in real final, Mahama ended with IMF in 2015-2016. Mahama has started with IMF 2024 and 2026.
Possibly they will end next year.
Sure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku, no job was do me and sir, Mijano Quine Kabbalah Transit. Dr. Mijano Quine, Menasa said, on the founding president for a year. UP tradition, Dr. Razak Kojo Opoku. Kabbalah Transit, Mamina ho, Samabako, na Yentuaso or her and the other Pemidan was Mabako, na Yedi. Okay.